Hello, my Holy Spirit students. Today we are working on our paper ornaments. You have in your packet a lot of directions, for how to make these, but let's talk about what supplies you're going to need for kind of the at-home version of this. You can get markers. You definitely want to have like a black one. Most definitely need a pencil with an eraser. Crayons, you're going to need some glue if you want to put this on a piece of paper. I know Mrs. Butler has also made a video and suggested that you hang them on your Christmas tree. So this is what your paper ornaments are going to look like when you're done. If you want to glue them to a piece of paper, that's fabulous. You can do that. But if you want to hang them on your Christmas tree, you're going to just attach something like a piece of ribbon or yarn and poke a hole in it. But we're going to start with how to make them, which is the most important part. So on this page, it shows us that we have to fold our paper in half. Now, it mentions colored paper, but you don't have to have colored paper. So I'm going to fold this one long ways, like a hot dog bun. And give it a nice fold. And then I'm going to cut it into smaller pieces so that we can make a few ornaments out of one piece of paper. Now, I'm cutting so that the fold is down here by my hands and the open part is up. And I'm cutting away from myself so that I'm safe with my scissors, but they should still stay folded. Then what you're going to do is draw with the fold on one side and the open on the other. You're going to start on the fold side and draw your ornament. So let's make a big Christmas bell. I like that. And then I'm going to hold that fold again. It's all about holding the fold today. I'm going to cut carefully, moving my paper with my left hand and always aiming the scissors away from my body. With my right hand, I'm just gently squeezing. I'm not moving my scissors, I'm moving my paper. And then you end up with a beautiful symmetrical bell. So symmetry means what happens on one side of a line, which is our fold, also happens on the other. So you've made a symmetrical fold. Now, these are great pieces to make scrap stuff. If you want to make a card or something, you could lay this down and decorate it, but we don't need that for our projects. I'm going to set this to the side. All right, here's my next piece. I'm going to check to see where my fold is. Hold it on the fold while I make, let's try this one. It looks a little more difficult. So I'm going to make a little notch at the top first, this little guy here. And then I'm going to make the big circle. And then I'm going to make 1, 2, but I'm not going to touch my fold. I'm going to come close and then down. And I kind of leave it at a point down there because that's how this one looks. All right, here we go. Moving the paper, holding it on the fold, moving my paper away from me. And if this is too much paper for you to try and cut around, just trim it off. Sometimes that helps a lot. Moving my paper, watch your fingers when you're doing tiny things. And be really careful when you get closer to that fold line so that you don't cut in too far. I almost drew that in too far. And there you have a beautiful ornament. And again, you've got the opposite over here. This is actually the negative space of our ornament, and this is the positive space. How fun is that? So there's 2. Let me get my last one. This one's kind of wide. My fold is over here. I'm going to make something that's not on this page. So let me start out with a little notch at the top. And then I'm going to go out. And back down. This kind of reminds me of those fancy sparkly ornaments that you see when like maybe you visit your grandparents. Cut that off. They're really sparkly and they're usually glass ornaments. Maybe your parents have some of them. They're older ornaments, maybe a little vintage. And they have fancy bumps on the sides. Usually glitter all over them too. What's a Christmas ornament without some glitter? If you have glitter at home and you want to decorate these with glitter, I say go for it. Make sure you have mom and dad's permission first. You don't want to upset anyone. All right, let's see what this guy looks like. He is a really wide ornament. Kind of looks like angel wings a little bit. I don't love this, so I'm going to trim these down so they're not quite so long. That's the beauty of making an ornament like this. You can just trim one side. As long as you make sure both your papers are folded together, you can just trim it up to make it what you want. If you get little pieces stuck in there, just kind of cut them as close as you can and then pull them out. And I like to keep all of my scraps over to the side so that I don't get confused about what I'm supposed to be using versus what is scraps. So now I have 3 beautiful ornaments from one piece of paper, which is awesome. So if you're using a colored piece of paper, you really only need one. Like I showed you, you can cut it into multiple pieces. This is where the fun comes in, and you get to decorate. You can use crayons and markers mixed together. You could, if you have watercolor paints at home, you could use those. Like I said, if you have glue at home, you could put some glue on, sprinkle a little glitter over top of them. I will post a picture of my finished ornaments, but I want to see what kind of things you can do at home with your creative minds. There are tons of examples of how to decorate your ornaments in the packet. They can be simple lines drawn with a marker, or like this one looks like it has some glittery paper on it. If you have other colored paper, you could cut out circles and glue them on. This can be as exciting or less exciting as you want to make it based on what you have at home. If you don't have plain white paper at home, you could always use scrap newspaper or the cardboard from a cereal box is pretty thin, so you could cut through that pretty easily. Look around in your recycling stuff and see what you can find if you don't have plain white paper. You could also use notebook paper, although it's not as sturdy as like construction paper is. So plain white paper is going to be really hard to work with, especially if you're going to add glue and watercolors or anything like that. If you just color them with crayons and markers, they should be fine. I hope you guys had fun. I'll see you soon.